So on behalf of Aspire Health, I'd like for you all to give yourselves a round of applause. We're grateful. We're so grateful that you're here. Okay, so to get this panel started, I'd like to call Councillor Jennifer Rice. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. And we have Ms. Yemi joining us. Yeah, I'm sure you're also my good friend. I've known her for nearly a decade, but we met the first time last year at an Aspire Health event. She's my sister from another mother. So can you introduce yourself? And the moderator is our esteemed Canadian journalist, none other than Mary Thomas. I love you so much.
So thanks to T.
Hello.
Yeah, that's better. So you'll be all surprised to know that I used to be the executive director for the Clairview Multicultural Center 7 years ago, when there was something like that in existence, not anymore. And I have directed 2 different multicultural centers before that in Fort McMurray. So I have done a lot of work in inclusion, diversity, and I have a huge amount of experience in bringing people of different cultures together. So this is the most exciting topic that I can moderate. And so I'm so happy that I have some esteemed panelists here. And I'm going to actually ask them to introduce themselves with a brief introduction of their experience in inclusion and multiculturalism. So first.
Thank you. My name is Shayla Dubé. While the moderator is asking for our experience or to talk about our experience or closeness to inclusion, I'd like to first locate myself as a mother. I'm a mother of 3. One of my kids is here, but she's not here at the moment. I am my grandmother's daughter, and I'm also my mother's first child. I think those are the titles that men have. As far as the topic is concerned, I am a social worker, and I'm also a therapist. I'm passionate about serving equity, deserving and equity seeking people. That means Black, Indigenous, and other racialized people. So as far as that is concerned, I've been a therapist for the past 13 years, and I've been working for Alberta Health Services and other organizations for the past 15 years. So thank you. And I would like to keep it short.
Moving on to Jennifer Rice, I don't think she needs any introduction. Every one of you knows her. But even so, we would give her a chance to say something about herself and her interest in inclusion.
Thank you, Mary. And I actually am really glad to heard you say you're from the Multicultural Center and work for that. So I'm Jennifer Rice, City Councilor and for Ward EP Kokaniki OC. So I do want to say, like many of you, I'm the first generation immigrant. So I immigrated to Edmonton in 2008. So how many years now? Like over 16 years. I still remember it was March 18. March 18, 2008. 2008, I immigrated to Canada. So I really experienced that diversity and inclusion value, how impact our immigrants. And not only for the first generation immigrants, and also for the second, third generation, and how we see that unity. And we work together and in the diversity and the different culture to contribute to where we live as a city, as a country. So I think we have lots to talk about. I will pass the mic on to our next one.
Thank you so much.
A wonderful afternoon to everyone. I am Ibiyemi Umwado, and my introduction of myself at the beginning is saying that I'm a Christian, a committed follower of Jesus Christ. I'm a mother of 5 boys. I like to because sometimes people may can't believe it. But yes, I'm a mother of 5 boys.
I have just 1 boy, and I know what that is to have 5 boys. So that's a great job she's doing.
Yeah, I immigrated in 2018, 10 years here. It's been a wonderful experience for me personally. I switched career from being a medical doctor to being a financial care advocate. So I run my own business, Smartwell Advocate. And inclusion and multiculturalism for me, I would say that I have experienced it in various places that I have been part of. First of all, my church here, in Newwood, where I stay, and then various events and programs. I remember when they first landed, I participated in a new common program with the Edmonton Mennonite Center, and I could see the power of that inclusion in that organization where I participated. I've also been at Reading College, and again, it was an opportunity to integrate and to see that I can say for sure that all are welcome. Because sometimes each person must recognize that you are welcome. Because if you do not recognize it, you have the tendency to feel that you are left out. But no, for me personally, I have enjoyed various kinds of programs. My boys are in soccer, and I know that there's been a lot of assistance and support. We're a mix of parents there in our various soccer teams that my boys belong to. And I get a lot of assistance from others in getting them to their soccer games, in making sure that they don't miss out, even if I am not able to be there. So I think I'll stop there at this point.
Thank you so much, Devi. I am so happy that she shared that piece of information because that's the kind of thing that we experience in our communities back home, where you have a whole community raising the children, and that's not something you generally expect in a place like Canada, which is a First Nation country, and it's a place where everybody values individualism, right? So it's like you take care of your own neutral home, and everybody else takes care of their own homes, right? So it's nice to know that there are people who actually reach out and take care of people in their neighborhoods, and that is how we build community. So thank you so much, Eddie, for sharing that. That's a beautiful anecdote. Now, the first topic for today is how do we define inclusion and how do we define resilience? So when we, as immigrants, all of us know that when we come here, we don't look like everybody else, right? We bring something from our own communities that is different from everybody else who's here. So should that be your negative or your positive? So I'm going to put that to the panel here. So let's hear from Stella.
Thank you. How do we define inclusion? I think that in many cases, you may be familiar with being invited to the table. Being included means that you're not only just invited, but you have a voice. Because I'm sure you've seen some jobs where they are very specific about they're looking for diversity, they're looking for EDI, equity, diversity, and inclusion. So you're not included unless you bring not just your voice, but your talents and your brilliance, and you also can have autonomy in that position that you have. So when we are invited to Canada, the question is, are we also included when we come here? Do our experiences from our various countries and education, does it count? Where were you, before you came here, when you got to Canada, were you able to utilize those skills and experience that you have? So being included means not only do you show your face, but are you showing up as all of you, and all of that is seen, heard, and valued? So I think that I will hand over to my other panelists, but for this particular topic, I think that it's having a voice and also having that voice matter, because you can say something, but are you really included? Does that voice matter? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Shaila, sorry. So thank you so much, Shaila, because that is truly what inclusion really means. But how many of you have had experience in different places that show you that you are not really being included, right? Can I have a show of hands of people who have had experiences said, no, I'm not being included. Yeah? So I have experienced that too. And so there are times when we feel that the elected representatives should stand up for us, should make policies that include us, and also make us feel that we are rightful citizens like every other person in this room, equal in every respect, and we can contribute to the best of our abilities. So I'm going to now hand over the podium to Jennifer Rice, who can share how the policies are made for more inclusion and getting everybody together on the same team.
I would like to talk about this topic from two angles. So the first angle is a personal angle. So as immigrants, as first generation immigrants, and I believe many of you may have similar experience. When we come to the new country, how do we feel we are included? How do we feel we are respected and accepted? I think that belonging to the community, that feeling, and sometimes really determine how we live every day and in a different country. So we come from our home country, we speak different language, and we have different culture. And even with that different language and culture, sometimes we find it so challenging and for us to be accepted as an individual. So I want to say that way. I believe like many of you, and including myself, we actually experience some challenge and to feel we belong to somewhere, or we belong to certain group, or we belong to everywhere. We have that equity piece, or feel we are respected as an equal. So I think that is personal level. And the answer to your question, Mary, about the policy level. The policy level, I do believe this country, Canada, and also our city, and we really value the diversity and inclusion. That is why we choose here as our second home. That is why we moved here. And but in the daily decision-making process, and how government make decisions really impact us, but how that decision-making reflects that inclusion, and sometimes it's really challenging. So that's why it's important we have minority representative and from minority community to get our voice around the decision table, saying, look, we have a different perspective, we have a different experience here, and however, our perspective, our experience also should be equally considered in the decision making for the policy making. So that is me as a minority councillor, I have been doing all the time, and I found it's challenge. But I found if I have the entire community behind me to support me doing that, I feel stronger. So thank you.
So remember to write to her every time you have something like that you want represented at the table, and I'm sure that she's going to speak about that when she gets into the sessions. So thank you, Jennifer Rice, for speaking for the community and the minorities. Now moving to Ebi Yemi. Thank you so much, Ebi. So I just want to put the next question to her, and that is, what would you define as resilience? See, all of us have seen recently a black person was shot, and till now we don't have the whole story. And when such things happen, how does the community support the families, and how does the community stand up against such things from happening? So what is resilience to each one of you?
Yes, so I'm smiling because that's a topic that is actually very at the forefront of my mind. It's a broad one, resilience, but for me, resiliency is that capacity to never be put out to always find something within yourself that helps you to keep pushing, to keep saying, I won't give up, to keep saying, I tried, it didn't work out, but I can look for another way. So it touches so many aspects of our life in terms of mental health, which is at the front runner of it actually. Your capacity to always find a positive in a situation that will help you to say, okay, it's not looking wonderful right now, I don't like this, but there is more that I can find within myself to look for a way out, to look for someone who can help, even if I've asked 1 million people already and I'm not getting any help yet. So resiliency is mostly a sense of there's a solution and I'm not going to be tired ever until I find a way out to this situation, to this challenge, to whatever the thing is, such that I might be down now, but I'll look in again and find a reason to rise again and keep pushing.
Beautiful answer. She deserves another round of applause. I would just love it. So the motto is never give up till you find the answer, till you find the one person who's probably going to stand behind you and support the cause that you're standing for. So in this situation, I hope our African communities are all standing together behind the black boy who was shot and asking for why such things have to happen in our community. Why do our children have to be sacrificed for us to find inclusion? Why? So that's another question that I'm going to ask Steph. How, when you leave your children outside, like how do you feel safe about this? What are the things you tell them when they go out? How do you make sure that they don't face situations like that?
As a mother of 3, like I mentioned earlier on that I do have 3 children, one of the things that I always remind them is to include everyone, especially that new kid or that kid who's different from everybody else, who may not have a friend, to be the friend to that kid, or even if you're not a friend, at least talk to them. So if they living in Beckerville, I live in Beckerville, I don't live in Edmonton, which is a small town, so they are usually the one black kid in the class, or one kid who looks like them in the park, and sometimes they have been told that, oh, we don't want to play with kids that look like you, or we are allergic to kids that look like you. So I teach them that they shouldn't, you can't stoop to the level of somebody who is not kind to you, so always be kind. And if you feel unsafe, find the nearest self-safe person, whether it's a teacher or an adult, but they have to use some discernment, because sometimes you may think that someone is a safe person when they are not. So I teach them to really use listen to your gut, whether you feel safe or not, and if you don't, find the nearest adult, or call somebody, or call me. Whether I'm at work or not, if I find that my child has called me 2 to 3 times, at least I will answer the call. And there's an African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a kid. So I want to make sure that I am investing in that social capital to make sure that they do have other aunts and uncles. That village is there for them. That if I can't find mom or dad, there must be somebody else that they can call when they feel like they're in trouble or they feel that they're unsafe. And we know that sometimes our police are not always the safest, and sometimes many of us here could have testimonies of being in trouble or having called the police, or you may have both positive and negative experiences. So I don't want to sit here and create a binary, but share that sometimes we can find safety with the right police officers, or sometimes you may not feel safe. So it's really all about creating that village for them to know where to go when they don't feel safe, other than mom and dad, because we may be available, but sometimes we're not. And if we don't invest in those, in that social capital, then we leave our children thinking that this is a me, myself, and I world, the individualism that our moderator talked about. So in in our communities, we talk about Ubuntu and meaning I am because you are. So that means that we spend a lot of time teaching and modeling what it is, because creating a safe society takes a village, and that village is you and me working together.
It was a beautiful answer about empathy. And so each of us belong to that community where if we see a child in trouble, we have the responsibility as parents to support a child who is not our own. So I hope all of you will remember this when a situation like that approaches, instead of saying, what have I got to do with this? Maybe I should just go home. So, just think about it. It could be your child, right? So the next question goes to Jennifer Rice. And I'm sure you're totally aware of this incident which I spoke about. And would you like to share your perspectives to this incident? What do you think is the future of Black boys in this community?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, but I do want to express my empathy and also my sorry and for the family. And then I do feel like no matter this happened to our Black community or the other community, I as a mother, and I feel that, and we as a government, we do have a responsibility to ensure everyone in the community, every citizen in the city to feel safe. So that is number one principle, and no matter it's Black community, other community, and no matter the color of our skin. And we need to be treated equally, fairly, and we need to feel safe in the city. That is our city's responsibility to make sure everyone feels the same way. And then as a mother, and I want, if anyone here knows the family, the mother, and please bring my message to them. Please bring my message to them, and then the feeling I have and for them. So my heart is full with that. So of course, in terms of EPA's responsibility, I think our city, and then we have anytime, every day, EPA has a responsibility to make sure our city is safe. They have responsibility to ensure everyone in our city to feel safe. So as a city councilor here, I speak to my own, and I'm not representing city council to speak this. I just speak to my own as an individual councilor. My hope is our people, our identities, our city feel safe and under the responsibility and EPA's is performing. So I just want to say
Thank you so much. And I hope EPS realizes that, inclusion is something that should be included in their training so that they don't make these kind of mistakes in future. And we haven't heard the whole story, so I really don't know who to pin the blame on either. So let's hear from A.B. Yemi. Yeah, I got it right this time. So inclusion is not just about, like crime, right? Inclusion is about your everyday life. How is it that you go to work? What are the kind of jobs you have access to? What are the kind of things that you're kept away from, which you should have access to? And I just want to have A.B. Yemi to share her experiences on what are the kind of things that she feels there are barriers as a Black person in this community. I'm a brown person, I've experienced my own, so I'll share that with you later. But let's hear from A.B. Yemi.
The immediate example and thought that comes to my mind when you talk about barriers, and in all objectivity, I may not be able to say that this barrier is just to Black persons, but I mean it's probably barriers to immigrants and perhaps immigrants that are from developing nations. I think that's what I would like to say it is. And I'll get there shortly. I mentioned earlier on that I'm a medical doctor, but I made a choice that I didn't want to practice medicine in Germany. The only other side of it is that my husband is also a doctor. And so, he's been 6 years now, he's been trying to get into practice here. And I am aware of lots of others, in fact many that have given up in trying to get back into medical practice here. The other thing is that, like, my husband is a surgeon, and what he would have loved to get into is to be able to practice general surgery here. But you hear things like the slot for even residency for international medical graduates and most of the institutions will just be one slot. So it's like, I don't know, maybe you want to take 30 residents into a particular subspecialty this year. But you may find out that the IMG slot is just one, and depending on the specialty, there might not even be an IMG slot. So it means that even though you might want to specialize in maybe ear, nose, and throat, or you want to do hematology, depending on which institution, there might not even be a slot for you as an international medical graduate. So it's more like, just forget about it. That's not even an option to consider, even though that's what you would have loved to do. I think I'll stop there.
Actually, I see our counselor is in a bit of a hurry. She has to rush to another event that she's going to participate in. So we are going to ask her the next question. What are the kind of policies and safeguards we have in the city of Edmonton to, allow access without barriers to people of multicultural communities?
So our city, and I don't know if you are aware of, we have anti-racism strategy. So that anti-racism strategy we passed on our first council meeting November 1st, back to 2021, and that should really emphasize our city cares about our diversity and inclusion, and specifically and for the minority racialized community. So that anti-racism strategy provides lots of resources, and people or organizations could access to the funding and services and to receive the support and for the minority community. That is number one. In particularly, our city, we passed a larger policy that is Black Community Anti-Racism Action Plan. So I want really everybody aware of, and for the Black community, our city, we do put lots of support. This is the first action plan under the anti-racism strategy. That is the first time. I think we should give the big plus and for City Council to pass this Black Community Anti-Racism Action Plan. And under this action plan, and we do have the fundings and resources and services and provide specifically to the Black community. There are many resources and we are there and to be accessible and for people to access to seek some services and also the support for the organization to provide certain works and for the funding. And also another one, so I can make long name, another one is called collaboration funding. So that means, and for the organization in the communities, if we work together and to support our community members, that collaboration funding will be available as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. for being a councillor who stands up for multiculturalism and somebody who can bring all these really interesting funding opportunities to our community and also opportunities to access and break the barriers that multicultural communities face. Since we are really short of time, we are going to kind of wrap up. If anybody has any further questions, you can hand it over and we can talk about it maybe at some other time. Right now, that is the end of our panel today. Just Councillor Jennifer Rice would like to say something?
I really want to say this event is so meaningful. And we bring not only cultural connection, we actually bring the spiritual. And for people to feel like multicultural, we stand together to strengthen our strengths. And when we talk about resilience, I want to say that resilience actually is our choice, how we face the challenge. And when we stand up together, and we are stronger. And before I leave, I know I have other event I have to go, but I want to say thank you to the organizer, and specifically, I think somebody over there, Dee, and from different organization, and also we have organizer from this organization, and their work is to support the community. And also I want to leave some of my contact information cards on the table, and if anyone would like to contact me, feel free to reach out. And before I go, may I ask and take a group picture with some people here? Thank you for having tonight. Not tonight, this afternoon.
So, do you want to invite Katie?